know this right here is Humble Beginnings, where we simply live it through. And y'all know when I say when we simply live it through, I always say no matter what adversity or diversity we go through, all we can do is walk the path accordingly, and all we can do is live it out. I mean, that's pretty much how life is, and that's pretty much how life goes. What's up, gang? How y'all feeling? Priest, Matty B, how y'all feeling?
What's up?
I'm feeling pretty good, brother.
All right, cool. Well, we got a couple more of the gang members going to jumping in, but we're gonna go ahead and get this thing started because I'm feeling a little tired and I don't want to wait too late. So I want to go ahead and cover this thing right now. So we're gonna talk about honor, this good old thing called honor. We're gonna talk about, do we see it out here? Do we not see it? When it should be applied, when it shouldn't be applied, and all these good things. So let's just go ahead and get straight into it. Do blacks honor their ancestors within this country? Do you see black people honor their ancestors in this country? Matty B, I'm gonna start with you.
I would say, no, I definitely don't see that happening. I mean, that's absolutely not. I don't think people honor the people, the ancestors directly. Well, not even the ancestors, but the people that's older than them that's still alive in their family, or the ancestors. So, nah.
Okay. Caprice, do you think people honor blacks? Are blacks honoring their ancestors?
I would say no, because most blacks don't even know who their ancestors are. So I would say no.
Okay. That's pretty fair. I would definitely agree. You don't really see too much honor, but I think you don't see too much honor because there's not much structure. I think that we had this privilege of being born in this country where we are able to tap in and see a lot of different things and have so many ways about us that we just never had a structure based thing when it comes to tribe or community or whatever may have you, that it's really nothing to honor because everybody is all over the place. So I think that you don't see it simply because there is no structure, and that's why everything is kind of all over the place. Some places have their bases are tied into their religion, and then their religion comes first and everything correlates down. A lot of people got certain tribal things that they do, or disciplines or whatever may have you, or culture within a group of people that you typically see. We don't really have that too much. I think everybody just so tapped into everything, especially in this melting pot where we live, that you really just don't see it. So I definitely agree with that. Can there be honor with no discipline?
Wait, do you think if black people actually knew their ancestors and the history behind their ancestors, would they honor them?
I don't think they would here in America. I think that because I think just knowing don't mean anything. So even when I hear how that so-called conscious community, where you have like people who push like the whole Pan-African theory and all this other stuff, of even like those who try to walk like the biblical path and all these things of that nature, you have people who like to say, and they like to like celebrate like the high end, or like the chematology cats, the cats who like to push the whole ancient Egyptian concept. You have a bunch of people who celebrate, the kingdoms and the triumphant times of certain places, but it don't actually navigate them to do better in their life. Like, I don't think that they do the thing based on honor. I think that when you hear the conscious people in the conscious community talk, they talk like that, like, oh, these were our ancestors, these people, boom, 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 and then they be like, yo, we're gonna walk this path too. But then I think it all becomes just simply talk. I don't think just knowing where people come from actually would make them do anything. I think a lot of that comes in with like something being distilled in them, and a culture, being around a culture of something coming up is what would actually make people carry something out personally.
And then for like biracial people, like, how do you celebrate, like, even if you know your ancestors, like, do you celebrate both sides, one side, or?
So I think that regardless of whether they're biracial or black, I think that in order to honor like your lineage, I think you carry forth the cultures and the tradition in which that you saw your people put forth. I think that's how you honor your people. Now, if your people will probably participate in certain things you probably don't think seek respect in, you probably might not want to honor them. I mean, unless that's the path in which that you choose to want to go. But I don't think it matters. I think that your honor comes into the structure and whatever the foundation that was based and laid for those who preceded you. I think that's where your honor starts. Like, because all the honor system is that you typically choosing to oblige and have a high level of respect for what it is that your people represent, and you carry it out the way that you carry it out. Like, you know, some people will, where they get like you see like in like ninjas, or you see like people like just like even sicarios or like hitmans and stuff like that. You see people they just carry the tradition forward. I think that's basically what it is. So people who typically put like a hierarchy on marriage, they carry it forward. They preach it. They push it throughout their children. They push it throughout. They push family. You typically see like if it's somebody who say we're going to push community and love and support community, you typically see it amongst them. You see them push it. You see them do all of that. So I think it's just really what people care for. I think that's just simply what it is.
Yeah, like say if one side of your family doesn't agree with like the cultural structure of the other side, how do you navigate on honoring both sides if one don't agree with the other side?
Well, you won't be able to, if both of those sides are opposing, you won't be able to honor both sides. It'll be very difficult to honor both sides because the side that you are resembling are going to deem you as honorable, and then the ones on the other side are going to deem you dishonorable. So it's going to be a very difficult path to try to do. You know what I'm saying? So I think that'll just be hard.
And most of the times, if we look back, like way back in history, those people were never supposed to be married in the first place. Most of the time, if you got a marriage that they completely disagree, somebody rebelled against one of either both people rebelled or one person rebelled against what their family wanted. You know what I'm saying? Because like interracial, marrying other religions, marrying other beliefs, that wasn't supposed to be that way.
Yeah, but I would say that if we talk about ancestors like far back, like some of them, it wasn't like a choice of them marrying outside their race or anything. Like they were the slaves and everything were being, I don't want to say the word, but by their master. So automatically you become biracial.
I got you. I wasn't disagreeing with you though. I was just speaking on another point about it.
Yeah, I wasn't disagreeing either. I was just saying for those people because some people's kind of lost with like their ancestry, like where they came from, and just because your dominant family may be like the black family, they just try to push you forward to like just the black culture, where like it's way more to it than that.
Yeah, I think most people are lost, especially black people. Then when this thing called like an identity crisis, I think most people are in that placement of it. But like I said, I don't think just knowing though would actually help people. I think it comes with practicing. So that's what leads to like my next question: like, is there honor with discipline?
Is there honor in what?
Is there honor without discipline? Can you have honor without discipline?
No. Because in order for you to honor something, if you honoring like a culture, it comes with a structure, and structure comes with discipline. So how can you honor a culture without discipline?
Okay. What you think, Matt?
I think on a micro level, yeah, but on a macro level, no. I think on a micro level, you can have respect and admiration and high esteem of some person, which is honor without necessarily having discipline. But I think if you speak like on a macro level, like a community, or like a bigger tribe, I would say typically you need discipline in that aspect. 'Cause it's way more variables. So that's what I would say about that.
But I
Okay,
don't
cool.
think, but I don't think just respecting the culture is like necessarily honoring. I think that's just respecting it. I think honor is like you living by it, like you pushing it forward, you living by it, you adopting the principles of that culture.
I mean, even with that, I don't necessarily agree or disagree, but even with that, I don't think you necessarily um, well, you can have discipline, but I don't necessarily believe you have to be disciplined because some people have naturally spirits about them where they naturally go along with the way they were raised, and they don't have to actually be disciplined.
Yeah, I think I think to be honorable within something, I think you do have to live and carry it out. I think because I think if it's just respect, like I kind of agree with Caprice. Like you can respect, like I can respect anybody's culture, but that doesn't mean there's a level of honor. As far as me, there's no level of honor because I mean I'm just respecting what they do. I'm not willing to hear about what I'm saying, the cultural norms and all that other stuff like that. But I do understand what Matt is saying that you can. There are people. I ain't gonna say that because I'll be lying. I don't see it. I think that in order to be able to do it, like I get it, but then I think like nah, you can't really be honorable without being through it, like without taking like a pledge or being like literally upholding yourself to something. I think you can respect it though. I think it can just be a level of respect, but I don't consider that to be honor as well. Though. I think that's respect. And even though
Well,
I
the
know
reason I
respect
said
lies within the definition, it is more than just you having respect for it.
well,
Mm-hmm.
I said regarding with high esteem as well, because it says the definition says to demonstrate high respect and esteem for a person. So it's saying that you can honor somebody by seeing great value in them, and you can honor that. You don't necessarily have to live by what they do to honor it, unless their tradition is for you to live by that. Like if you're their son or something, and they having place for you to take on that position, then yeah, you would have to honor them by filling those footsteps. But you can actually honor a person without actually becoming them. Like those things can be
Yeah, we talk. Yeah,
intangible.
we. I get what you're saying. We talking about two different sides. We're talking about because you're speaking from the part of honorably placing the honor upon someone else, and then me and Caprice going at it from being honorable ourselves as the individual part of it. So now I definitely agree with you. We're addressing it from two different angles. We're talking about us as ourselves, and then we're talking about somebody within it. So I get what you're saying. Yeah, most definitely. So yeah, when it comes to honorably, like how you saying, yeah, when it comes to honoring like somebody else amongst what they're doing, yes, you can hold that level of respect for how they might have their discipline within their structure, whatever it is that they do, and don't necessarily have to do it yourself. So I agree with that. But I like I said, I was speaking from being that person. So yeah. Um. So with that being said, do children honor their parents in today's society though? Do you see people in your optician? Do you see people trying to carry it out? Hold on, wait. Before I ask this question, Mike Joe, what's
Wait,
going on with you, man?
Ain't
I
nothing
saw you
cool.
pop up. Oh,
What going on?
cool. Hey, so my bad. I saw you jump in a little late. I ain't mean to try to skip over you. But the first question we were talking about do you see blacks honoring their ancestors?
Uh, Only in February.
Oh, okay. So you talking about more like tribute. You see the tribute more so in February.
Yeah, cause honestly, I don't really hear too much about like people constantly talking about you know great like basically the cultural history of whatever they had until it's that time. Like they dedicate all in 1 month. No, that's your history. That's your family. You should, always celebrate them. Talk about them.
So that's so cool. So you basically bring up the same concept like how when me, Matt, and Caprice was kind of talk about where how you're speaking from the point of how Matt was saying, like, yeah, you see them hold honor and pay tribute to those people at a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm approaching it. Do you see people honor their ancestors within their actions though? Do they carry on an honorable notions when they and throughout their living? More so than saying, oh man, Martin Luther King was special, boom, boom, boom. Malcolm X was this, boom, 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 boom. Angela Davis was this, boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? Frederick Douglass, boom, 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 boom. Versus seeing people call themselves paying homage, but do you see them live it out though? Like, do they show it within their actions? Because there are some people who be like, no, Nat Turner represented this, so I want to carry out and represent this right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people who carry it out from their point, like in their actions. What you think about that? Do you see people carry it out in their own personal actions, or do they just pay the homage the other way, like how Matty B said?
Well, Matt said that, and I don't really see them kind of. Well, I put it like this. Maybe I see it on TV like that, but as far as like where I'm at, like seeing people kind of carry out that, I don't see it. Not at all.
Why do y'all think that is? Do y'all think it stemmed from like the question Caprice had asked earlier about just not knowing, about them just not knowing their ancestors?
I don't think it comes from that. I think it comes from a self. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, we get you.
I think we move more so as individuals now than back in those times, and I think people don't really live out certain things that the ancestors have done unless they feel like it's going to be a level of self gratification involved with it. Because if you look at maybe like people that do great things, if they know they're gonna get a lot of attention from it or a lot of acclaim from it, they will honor. They do speak highly of the people that done it before them, but it has to be something that they feel is like popular at the moment or is relevant now. But if we speaking of ancestors as far as people that did great things and it don't come with a level of clout, it just comes with honor itself. There's no attachment to it. People aren't gonna do it because I believe people today in general just feel like whatever they have to do, it has to be beneficial to their bottom line of where they're trying to be today. They're not just going to do it just off the respect level.
They got to be. Just straight up.
So Matt said something. So personal gain. So if honor used to be it used to be a personal thing where you wanted to fulfill and take pride in doing it for your family. But Matt said something like nowadays, I mean, it's all about what people can gain. So if people can't gain anything, then there ain't really no point in doing it.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they look down on some of the people, like people that died broke but fought for causes. There's a lot of people today that don't even respect those people. They felt like that was stupid. A person died broke or died without nothing. A lot of people don't even respect that. So everybody looks at everything now with it didn't give you money, it didn't make you look better, it didn't put you in a different position. It's not worth celebrating. They don't say it like that, but their actions show that.
But when I feel a lot of attention as far as like that just go bad, like put like social media or something. Like the first thing gonna do is like how you say gain attention, what they gonna do, go put on their social media and gain whatever, follow, like whatever. So nah.
That's a fact, cause you would see them honoring somebody like whoever the first black model was. I know it wasn't Tyra Banks, but she's the one we can relate to. You would see people now that become models that are honor like a Tyra Banks became for them. But it's other people that were like there before these people, or they honor like the first black baseball player or something. But there's a level of clout that comes with that. You know what I'm saying? There's a level of celebration. There's a level of energy that you get and you receive when you honor those people and you're doing that same craft. Or like the great singers like Patti LaBelle or something. They honor those people because those people have something that they wanted or something that they admire about them. But just honoring the fight or honoring what someone stands for and there's no gain, it's rare that you see that.
So that means to my question of why children don't honor their parents in their decision anymore. Why don't you think
I
that? Why
think
you think they don't do that?
what was the
Because of
last part? Why they don't honor their parents and what was the last part?
in their decision making. You know how
I think
sometimes
some parents got. Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, you know how sometimes parents try to, they try to groom their kids up certain ways. Some parents I think it's few and far between now, but you know how some parents try to groom their kids up a certain way, and you see most people always go their own separate paths.
I think the parents. I mean that's crazy. Me and my brother spoke about this a little bit earlier, similar to the question you just asked. But I think a lot of times people don't see progress from their parents as well. They don't see their parents progressing themselves. More so, it's a lot of reasons for that, but more so like other coaches who may be attorney or a lawyer or doing this or doing that, and the kids can see their parents actually thriving while giving them the information. It's hard for somebody to respect somebody that's struggling giving you information of what you should and shouldn't be doing. And I'm not sure if this is exactly relevant to the question you're asking. Um, a lot of people like coming up because black people been through so much that they have this mentality that I'm gonna give you the game just to get you enough. Nobody wants just enough anymore. Everybody wants excess today. You know, you had to give them a plan where they feel like this is gonna put me ahead. This is gonna change my zip code. This is gonna change how I'm looked. But a lot of black people in those times when they leaving their kids something, it's a recipe just to maintain because at that time frame when they were alive, maintaining was big. Just being able to maintain and have, like how they say, we had the food in our house and the clothes on our back, and that's all we need. There's a lot of parents that were trying to give their kids that in the 90s and 80s, and people ain't thinking like that no more. They're like, we got opportunity now, and those people didn't have opportunities, so they don't have the game to kind of really give them on how to actually progress, not just maintain.
I see that. I can definitely see that. That a lot of times, I think a lot of us do look down upon the lives that some of our parents may have lived, and I know sometimes that does trigger, where you how you want to go and where you move forward. But you see people go against it even if their parents was like successful. Like they still turn against it. They be like, I don't want to do that. Nah, I don't want to do that. Like you see people.
In the black community, I think that's like minute group of like their parents was really successful and
Well, it all depends on what we call a success. Wait. It depends on what we call a success. Now, I'm not using success in the sense of they had to be wealthy. Now, I'm talking about as far as like they were successful as far as the basic establishments, which is the family dynamics and structure and being at a comfortable enough place where there was not a struggle. Because there's a difference
yeah,
between poverty and then the other side.
even that basic baseline, most black families didn't even have that. Like most black families were still on the struggle line. Nobody was in a comfortable space. Like so
But we really can't even give an example of actually families to a degree because there were never really complete families like that either.
exactly. If we say that majority of black households were raised by a single parent, then we can't say like, oh, that the success of that baseline was like the majority because that wouldn't even make sense because most of the households were single parents that were struggling.
Oh no, I was
But
never
that's the
going to.
point. But that's the point because they struggled so much. I'm not saying that you disagree with my point, but that kind of emphasized my point as well because they struggled a lot. they look at just maintaining, just me giving you the tools to maintain should be good enough. You should be grateful for that. And a lot of kids, and I was one of those kids where you kind of look down on them. You kind of feel like they got a slave mentality, like the white man put us in a position at one point where now you feel like if I just can make it, I'm doing good. While other cultures are thriving, and they're thriving. They're making millions. They're owning land. Even if we don't use millions, 'cause that's kind of extreme, but they're owning land. They're leaving their families actual nice houses and nice cars and paying for college. And the black family just saying, "Here, I'm gonna leave you this trailer with this little piece of land, and you can work on this farm, or you can have this little job, and you should be good with that." And people ain't really feeling that no more.
They're not even doing that. Most black parents don't leave their kids nothing when they die but fucking bills. Like, so the question of what, like, what was the question? Do some children look down upon their parents?
Nah, the question was based off of why the kids don't respect. What was it, Kevin? Why the kids don't respect the parents?
Why don't children honor their parents in their decision making anymore?
Yeah, so I was just using an example. I wasn't saying that was the most. I was using that like example of something that they don't honor.
I'm about to agree with you. Most children in black households have been traumatized by the experience of their childhood. They seen their parents struggle. They went through a lot of traumatizing stuff in their childhood, and because they're trying to go a different way and make it a different way, they're not just trying to maintain or just trying to survive. They're trying to thrive out here. So it's like some things I could take from my parent, but what I'm trying to do, you know nothing about, so I can't even ask you for advice or, honor your advice because you don't know nothing that I'm doing.
Yeah, so it's a double-edged. One second, Kat. It's a double-edged sword in a way, because in one way, you can't respect them because they don't really know a lot about what you're doing, but there's a lot of value left. Because most of the time, people don't pick and choose what they don't like and what they like. They throw the whole thing out and just start a whole new path. But then what happens is you end up busting your head, or you end up being 30 and 40 and you still ain't got a lot accomplished, because even though you may not have respect what the parents were trying to teach you, there was a lot of valuable lessons, and they did have a great guideline that maybe you could build off of that guideline rather than doing something completely different. But most people, they don't respect the guidelines, so they throw the whole thing away. Because when me and my brother was talking earlier, there's a lot of situations where when parents gave you advice, or like an example I use about them leaving something to you, or anything, just about the conversation we having, you could have built up on that, take it to the next level. If they got this much game, take that game and just add to it rather than starting a whole new path. And most of the time, people just start a whole new path, and then you lose out on those lessons that could have actually progressed you quicker.
Yeah, but if we talk about the black household, most parents don't even have a baseline for kids to even work off of. Like, most black families are in survival mode. And I mean, like, if I use my parent as an example, my mother, I would say for me, I would take her street smart for value, like what she know about like how to move in the streets and stuff like that, or even like some motherly skills of what to do when certain stuff happen, as far as like sicknesses or skin breakouts and stuff like that. But as far as like finances and all of that, I cannot ask for her advice because that's not something she really knows about. She know how to save money, not spend money, but she don't know how to multiply that money in a legal way.
But that's my point though. I said people usually throw everything out. They throw everything out rather than just taking bits and pieces of it. Because if they know how to save, but they don't know about multiplying it, then you just get the gain from saving, and then you build up on that. But a lot of times people lose respect for the person, and they don't take nothing from the person. And a lot of times they end up even worse than that person was. Just because you're trying a lot of new things, that don't mean you actually getting better either. You're just trying a lot more, because sometimes it's better to try to get ahead than to just live docile and be comfortable there. Because I would rather, if I had my choice, if you told me I can live an average life, or I could keep trying to do something, even though it may come with like bumps and bruises and wrecks and stuff, I would rather do it that way because just living docile ain't me.
I got a question.
I think kids. I think kids got more opportunities now. Anyway, like it's different now than it was back then. So, like it's like they got options not to like kind of have to follow what their parents do or try to do what they do. Like hell, they want to learn something. You just go YouTube the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different now. Back then, like you kind of had to kind of go off for your parents or hey what they how you do this, how you do that because we didn't have that many options. So I think the environment and just like in general what we have now is different.
Yep, I agree.
But the
I got a
option
question.
isn't necessarily a good thing either because the attention span is way lower as well too. People don't stick with nothing, so they try something for a year and then they immediately switching the major or switching the career path or try something different, and they still never get nothing accomplished. So
But
that's why I say sometimes you can just learn lessons of. Go ahead.
they have
But
freedom.
everything comes with good and bad. Nothing is just straight good or straight bad. Like something that you could deem as good, it still can be bad. So, like, if you tell me if I have the options to live a childhood in today's society, then back then society, I would pick today's society, even
I
with the
wouldn't.
stuff that comes with it.
I wouldn't.
I definitely would.
I would.
Hell no. Hell
I
no.
would.
If I had the choice to be my era and to be my children, fuck no. Uh-uh.
I mean, children today
This
are
era, this
like
era,
children
this era is
today are
fucked up.
Hell
I
no.
ain't gonna lie.
I'm talking about as far as like having access to a lot of information and having
Yeah, but
options.
you don't. But this is the key part. What information? You always had access to information. It's just now that you don't. It's just now you can be lazy about how you get it. Libraries have been around before us. You've always had access to the information. Niggas just didn't want to
You just
read.
got it in your hand now.
But you didn't have
You just got it in your hand.
access to the people to let you know that the information was there.
No, you did have access. You're just not actually engaging with people.
From two different point of views because where I grew up, nobody was just talking about finances. Nobody was just talking about certain stuff. Like even the librarians and shit. Like nobody was talking about these things. The schools wasn't teaching you certain things. So I guess we just come from different.
Yeah, the only thing you saying really is that because of the internet, you can just now pull all these things up quick, which a lot of people ain't learning from, even though they can pull them up really, really quickly. They just can just bring them up very quickly. So there are some people who are able to take these vices and then be able to utilize them, and some people aren't. But as far as access, no, we always had access to it now. We can't say we didn't have access. We've always had access. It just wasn't as accessible as it is today. But we've always had access now. Because realistically, what you are into is what people strive for even now. Like even now, when I hear people talk about being so much woke and getting all this stuff, you know what all these people are doing? They're starting to read books now. They're reading more books. Now, a lot of these books were already there. They just been going back to it now because they're now getting different introductions into these concepts. But it's not new information. It's not new books. They're not reading newer stuff. They're reading the same old shit.
It's not new information. I think because like even when like you on social media, somebody talk about something and then it prompts you to go get the information on it because you didn't hear this before. So now I'm gonna go look for the information because this prompt me to go look for it or whatever. Because people just wasn't talking about it back then. The information was there,
But people, like I can't say, people was always talking. But people was always those same people that was talking about it. Now people was always talking about it. It's just that we were in a small circle. People didn't leave out these circles to be around other types of people. On the internet, you could come across all types of individuals. Say, damn, I didn't know that was a conversation that was being had. But those conversations was always being had. People just didn't. People didn't travel at those times, and people stayed to their circle at those times. So if you wasn't around those people, you didn't get it. Because if you talk to a person that was well traveled at that time and was really big into culture, they still got way more information than the people now. They don't even, and some of them ain't even big on the internet. They just was out there so much and around so many different people that they was already introduced to a lot of these things.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. They coming up on the parents that don't know the information as well. you don't know what you don't know because you're being taught from a person that don't know what they don't know. So
Yeah.
I got a question because y'all kept earning. I kept okay. It's really I got two questions. What is the baseline of your parents? Like what was their job?
To put shelter over your head, clothes on your back, and food on the table. That's it.
Matty B, what was their job?
That was the baseline.
You talk about my parents exactly, the last generation of parents.
Yeah, just I mean, it don't have to be your particular parent, but what was the job? What's the job of parents? What are their jobs?
I think their job is just to make sure you make it to an adult and in a I'm not sure the exact word, but make sure you can be self sufficient as an adult. I think that's the main goal is to prepare you to be self sufficient as an adult and get you through your childhood.
Mike Joe, what's the job of the parents?
The job of the parents.
You saying back?
No, the job of the parent is just basically to, do what you gotta do for your kids.
What you been saying, Caprice?
You saying what's the job of the parent, like in general, or you talking about back then? What was like?
It doesn't matter because the parent's job has never changed. Whether you go from back then and now, the job of a parent is still exactly the same.
You said the baseline.
Yes, the job of a parent has never changed. What is the job of a parent?
The baseline was roof over your head, food on the table, clothes on your back.
So the job of a parent, and Matt actually touched on it. The job of a parent is to bring you and gift you with certain information to make sure that you can make it to adulthood and be able to be self-sufficient and be able to carry it out. Their job is to guide you. Their job is also to guide you. So even when it comes to certain structures, whether it comes like friendships and relationships and all these other different stuff like that, their job is to help guide you and make sure you're strong enough to battle the things that you typically come across and which you're up front. This job has not changed since fucking Aztec time to now. The job is still exactly the same. Now, when people start wanting to get in a particular jobs, like career paths, you might be guided a little bit different depending on the career path, but your parents' job is still the same job. Their job is to make sure that you can be able to substantiate and be self-sufficient for yourself. Their job is to teach you how to be able to manage for yourself. That's their job, and to help guide you along the way.
I agree with that, but back in the days, was most parents doing that? Really?
I'm not asking you where they're doing it. I'm simply asking you what is their job. I understand that we come from the area because we're gonna do a show about that too, about how those generations that preceded us dropped the ball. We're gonna definitely do a show about that. But I'm talking about just what is the job? What is their job? I ain't talking about all them other subparts.
I agree with you with the overall consistency of what you said, what a parent job is. Like, yes, I agree with that. Now,
because we know now it wasn't successful.
It's different if we say, did they actually execute that? If they actually did that, that's a different conversation.
Well, I got another show for that. I mean, like we all know that there was a lot of failure along the way. And on the next show, we can dive into what those failures were and what obstacles and what all this other stuff that they were facing. But the whole point is what is their job. Also, I heard the word thrive being used, and people y'all, a couple of y'all kind of quoted that people are actually trying to excel. Are people really are thriving and excelling? Because most people I see regularly, they carry on the same tradition as those who preceded them. They want to work them same regular jobs and all that other stuff. I don't see a bunch of people striving for a lot greater.
It's a small minute of people that's actually trying to get to the thriving level. Most people are still in surviving mode. Some people are actually comfortable being in survival mode because in order to get out of survival mode, you have to do shit out of the norm, and out of the norm shit is an uncomfortable feeling for you, so you're not even gonna try. People are so scared to try stuff and scared of failing that they won't even try. So no, I wouldn't say most people are thriving. I think that's small group of people that's actually trying to get to the thrive. Because in order for you to start thinking about thriving, you have to get out of survival mode. Most people are still in survival.
Yeah, basically, because people are
So
comfortable doing like what they.
People are
so
doing the minimum, and and then they try to use the excuse of like, this is all I know, but they just scared to, something new.
so then would it be safe to say, since most people are in survival mode the same way their parents was in survival mode, that they could be honoring their parents because they doing exactly what their parents was doing? Could that be a perspective?
Unconsciously,
No,
subconsciously, they honoring their parents.
No, I think that's just results.
but
I mean, just because the results are the same don't mean you're honoring them. I think the results are similar though. But that's the point I made earlier when I was people just doing it the wrong way. They rebel against the entire thing. It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Just because the results are the same, don't necessarily mean you honoring your parents. Because some people, like I said, you don't know what you don't know, and then when you do know, it's scared to even do something new because you're so comfortable where you was at. There's a lot of people that's comfortable in survival mode because they know it takes a lot of work to get up out of there, and a lot of people don't want to put in that work. Like for me, I don't understand that for the life of me why people really want to get jobs and want to like looking forward to retirement and want to stay at a job. Like I can't do it.
I got a question. The usage of the word nigga.
What? Wait, what? That took a
The
turn. It was.
Because we're talking about honor parents. The usage of the word nigga. Is this honorable or dishonorable?
That's dishonorable. I actually, that's crazy you brought that up because last week I said I was gonna try to stop using the word. I was gonna try to stop using the word this year, and that was just last week. That's crazy that you brought that up. So, because I always felt like that's
I'm talking
dishonorable.
about ancestors, period. I'm talking about ancestors.
Ancestors, because if we talking about just your parents, that's like a two
No,
generations.
I know because we already been in the trap, and we just gonna jump just to that generation. So I'm talking about in general of ancestry.
And when I can't even say like it's honorable because like they use it too, like our parents. But we talking about our ancestors. Yes, it's a big dishonor.
So why do people do it?
I think
Is it that people don't care?
And I think because of how you was raised and you heard it a lot, and then now it's like even though people understand it now that it's dishonorable to use for your ancestors, they so used to using it that it's like, and then they try to use the excuse like it's a term of endearment or only black people can use it. It's like if you have a problem with white people saying it, then you shouldn't even be saying it. Like why have a problem with one group of people saying it if you gonna say it yourself? Like it's not a term of endearment. It's just ignorant, or you just like using it, or you just used to using it and you can't break it out of your vocabulary.
So basically, it just goes back to being a lack of discipline.
Exactly.
What you think, Mike?
I mean, I can't really kind of say either or, man, because I do say it. Maybe not a lot like that. I do say it, but it wasn't because I heard a lot as far as like, growing up and like that, just, you be around and, company you be around, it just fell in. So.
And then if you using it for the actual definition, then I don't see no problem because nigga is just like means like ignorant, like you just don't know shit. And if you
Yeah,
call
because usually when I say nigga, I'm using that shit literal.
Right, if you call
Like this
somebody
nigga here.
and you literally mean like this nigga is ignorant right now, then okay, use it. But if you just like my nigga and like, yeah, that's like you was like groomed and you was taught to say that word. You heard it a lot growing up.
But
Whatever.
it still boils down to discipline though, because
Yeah.
even if you are around it, nobody makes you say it. You don't have to. Like
nobody
it's still just discipline. Because if you could tell me you understand it, if you could tell me you understand it, then you can't bring up how you was raised no more.
Right.
Like that it goes out the window. If you understand it now, then then you full of shit now trying to tell me how you been raised. Because that's just discipline at that point.
Right. That's what I agree with that. For me, I used to say a lot, but I think now I'm trying to change nigga to bro. So, like, yeah, and then if I call you a nigga, I actually mean what the word is saying. Like, there's some nigga energy. This is ghetto. Like, I really mean it. But now I'm just trying to,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, once,
I just like
yeah.
my bro. And if y'all
What you
got a
say,
problem,
Mike?
y'all got a problem with calling y'all bro, just understand that I'm trying to be disciplined and not using the word nigga.
What you said, Mike? We know Caprice want to use the word bro.
I think that was more like in the twin stuff, cause like now, like even when I be like, you know, just saying like just out in general, you know, just at work or something, I don't be like, nigga. I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like it's young shit to me, like, cause I don't even remember like really the last time like really even saying like, yo nigga, my nigga. I'm like, you know, used to do that back then, but now I just be like yo, or you know, just say the name or whatever, or my peoples or something like that. I don't even use that shit like that. But I ain't gonna lie though, that I don't know where that bro shit came from. Like, yeah, you ain't my bro. Like, everybody ain't my bro. I'm not calling you that. That's crazy. I don't know where the hell that came from. But that's the new generation stuff. So, hey. I don't think it replaced, but
I'm gonna flip it. Do parents honor their children within their actions?
No. Especially a lot of our parents grew up with the whole mentality of do what I say, not as I do. And that's like stupid as hell. Like, first of all, children mimic what you do, not what you say. Or I mean, they mimic what you say sometimes too, but most of the time they mimic what you do. So if you don't want your children doing something, then you need to be doing what you don't want your children. I mean, you need to not be doing what you don't want your children to be doing. You can't say one thing and contradict it, because, like, for me, even like sometimes my kids are very diligent on like telling me about myself. If I tell them not to do something, I do it. Shit, like, you'll definitely get on me. Like, well, you tell me not to do this, but you doing it, and I can't say nothing. But you know what? You right, and I'ma not do it no more because I don't want you to do it. So no, most of our parents have definitely did not honor us as children, just based off that do what I say, not as I do, or be seen and not heard. Like, now you mad because your kid growing up with communication problems, can't even express themselves, got anger problems, stuff because you told them be seen and not heard.
Well, to be seen and not heard is more of a placement thing. It's all about it's all about respect in certain circumstances. Like when adults are talking, children shouldn't be able to be involved with adult conversations. It's more so of placement with that. But I do agree with the first.
I think you should have your adult conversation somewhere where the kids is not in the vicinity. If you don't want, if you have them.
Well, it's not more so about them being there. It's about them getting involved with adult stuff. So if we're having a conversation as adults, then they shouldn't be trying to participate in the conversation. It's really more so what that is.
Putting in their input with it, like,
yeah, they shouldn't be trying to input in your conversation because it's adults talking. There's more so placement.
Well, the other one, do what I say, not as I do.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Now, that's just stupid. I think that set a lot of people up. I agree with that one. When y'all hear the phrase "there's no honor among thieves," what come to y'all mind with that? What is that really? Like, do we believe truly in this statement that there are no honor among thieves? Now, I know there's many places where we can drive this from. We can drive this biblically. I think even William Shakespeare in one of the plays, Henry IV. It's many places where this
I can't go
phrase has come up.
know too much about biblical stuff, like, but I would say like
Just the phrase in general, because that phrase has touched me. I can like ancient Greece used to use it. Like yeah, it's been many places. That phrase, no, there's no honor among thieves, has been many places.
But I don't know. I think that could be subjective because that thief could be stealing for their family. So they honoring their family. I mean, they trying to. I don't know. I can't really say. I don't know.
What do you think, Mike? When you hear that thing, is that completely a true statement, or is there wiggle room? Is there some gray area to that? No honor among thieves.
Great.
And it ain't nothing because I don't even think about it because that's something like honor towards who, like amongst who, like who, no honor amongst thieves, but who am I honoring? If I do something, whatever, who is it disrespecting or who is it not honoring? Like I'm basically doing it for me. I'm doing it for it's a reason why. Everybody's reason is not the same. Everybody reason, some people gonna feel like you're right, some people gonna feel like you're wrong or whatever. But I don't think nothing of that statement.
What do you think about Matty B? No honor among thieves. Think it's completely a true statement, or you think it's some gray area to that?
It's kind of hard because I know that came from a time frame. A lot of sayings come from certain time frames that meant kind of not exactly how people use them today. But I get the gist of it. I know it's still pretty much this kind of the same thing. But I know time frames were different rules and different regulations as well that go into that. But I say I haven't fully thought about it. I never fully thought about it, but I never had a problem with it. You know, no honor amongst thieves. As subjective as we make it today, a lot of things were black and white. We have a lot more things that's justifiable in today's time, so people, look at it completely differently. But I think at those times it was, if this happens, it's boom, and if that happens, it's boom. So that's my opinion about that.
So when the phrase "no, there's no honor among thieves" comes from the mindset and the perspective of once a thief will always be a thief, and there will be typically no change in that. There will ever be an honor. Like a thief could never attain a level of honor because he's one who chooses to steal. So it moves with the concept of a thief will always be a thief. I don't believe in whole totality. I think that in the concept of a thief, I think if you're talking amongst thieves that the greed is the number one guidance of those thieves, I think you will always live in a place of a dishonorable person, because typically if greed is the number one factor, that means there's always a price that you could be sold out to, which means there will be no honor because they definitely will sell you out if there's a price. So I think behind the concept of if that's a thief moving with simply baseline of greed, I think it will never be honor amongst them. And that's where a lot of those, in those different places where you see there's no honor among thieves, is typically the perspective in which that people are viewing it. But I also think that you can have honor amongst thieves because, just like Capri said, it all depends on, some people are stealing to honor or to cherish their family. Now, some people can argue this in perspective too. They can say, well, if you want to be honorable, why didn't you do something more legit versus stealing? There could be a perspective there too. Also, when it comes to thieves, there are some people who thieve as individuals and solo, and there's some people who thieve within a pack. That there is a lot of honor amongst them, and they are very honorable to other thieves and actually cherish the concept of how bank robbers or certain people and stuff like that give certain trips to certain people. I think it can be honor amongst thieves, just as long as greed ain't the number one factor that pushes it, personally.
Mm-hmm.
I think if greed is the number one factor, you're gonna lose every time. I would agree. I think that statement stands 100% true if we're talking about if it stands behind greed. All right, let's dive into this thing. What are some ways that a man can honor his wife? And y'all personal opinions and opposition. What are some ways that a man can honor his wife? Mike, we'll start with you, bro.
Thing, It ain't just keeping your word, just doing what you said, do what you say you're gonna do. Like whatever you told them, just keep your word. Um, that's basically about it. Stand
Caprice, what you
first.
think?
I think you can a man honor his wife by, I don't know, this is hard because it's different among people, but I guess like whatever ground rules or set rules that y'all set for each other, you respect them in your personal boundaries.
Just speak about things in which that you view are
Your
honorable
personal
honorable amongst
I
gesture.
think you honor your wife by respecting your wife. I think you honor your wife by, I don't, this is, I don't know. And then you honor your wife and your family by, like, I agree kind of with Mike Joe said, like, sticking to your word. Now, if your word changed, let her know that, like, it's changing and how you feel about this. But I think, I don't know. This is hard.
Matty B, what you think, man? What are some ways
I'm not trying to stick it to, like, me personally.
Matty B, what are some ways that a man can honor his wife?
I would say by off giving her protection, kind of guiding the family, guiding her in the family to to be able to thrive. And maybe I know you say we use that word a lot, but kind of I would say protection, kind of giving the woman the tools to thrive. Also keeping his word, like how everybody said, being faithful if that's their agreement, honoring their vows if they have vows and that's their agreement. I would also say putting her in the environment where she can be comfortable and bring out the best in her. Because I think a lot of people underestimate the environment the space that you put a person in as well. So I think putting her in a space where you can get the maximum effort from her and the maximum productivity from her is another way that you can honor her as well. And just having a plan and giving her a guideline or a blueprint to how that family is going to orchestrate.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I just
so
pointed down to, like, one thing. I would just say, like, you honor your wife by honoring the agreement that y'all set for your relationship, whatever that looks like, the plan or whatever. Like,
But that can always change, though. Just
but
because we
yeah,
got it,
but
that can always change.
that could always change. But you have conversations about the change, and I mean, you still, whatever the change is, you still honor whatever the change is. Like,
so I
it's
think
a it's an agreement. So if y'all both agree to the change, then you know.
so yeah, I think the ways that a man can honor his wife, I think number one is it's a man's job to set the foundation for the family. I think that man has to be a symbol of strength for the family. I think like how Matt said, he has to be able to protect the family. I think not only do he have to be able to protect the family, but he has to make sure the family have the tools to be able to protect themselves, even within his absence. Just like how I said, going back to what is a parent's job. I think that I think his job is to guide. I think he should be that vessel to actually help lead and guide the family. I think that and I'm gonna keep it more specific to the wife. I think that word is bond. I know we come up in a culture where we hear word is bond. I know I've heard word is bond being used very loosely amongst people, and a lot of people don't understand how serious word is bond is. Word is bond is literally when someone says my word is bond, that means the whole bond in which that we have of our association and attachment to each other is predicated upon my word. And the moment that I go against my word, I have destroyed everything between us. That's what word is bond means. The
Yes.
word is our bond. If I break the word, I have destroyed the bond. And I think that, yes, that is one of the ways that a man should. He should honor and be a man of his word. He should be that guy. He should be very stand up. I think the man's job, to be that model. I always say this: your job is to be the model. I always make people mad, and a lot of times when it seems like I be nitpicking with people and all this other stuff like that, I always tell people my number one job is to expose your idiocracy and your hypocrisy. I think those are the most things that typically can point people to be full of shit. Sometimes your hypocrisy, people like to say things that they don't continue to live by. They don't try to push it forward. They just be talking to just hear themselves fucking talk. And they be realizing that when they do it. And I'm like, I'm always going to always do that. Like if I hear people do it, I'm always expose it every single time. Also, your idiocracy. A lot of people don't understand certain things. They, once again, just be talking to hear themselves talking and don't understand it. They be looking at it from very narrow lenses. So I think people have to really understand that. And I think that's a man's job. I think a man's job is to distinguish certain things. His job is to set order. His job is to set direction. I think that's his place, man. That's how you honor, especially for his wife, because typically his wife typically aligns and typically follows him anyway if he takes on the role of leadership. I know in today's society, roles are reversed, but I can't speak to the other concept. I'm too dominant within my own nature to understand that other side, that I am going to set structure. So I don't know what it's like to be around people women who typically set structure and carrying out. I know women are very fickle. I grew up around a lot of women. I have a lot of sisters, a lot of aunts. I have biological mom, multiple moms. I don't really see women very good at holding structure to a certain concept. I think that men are typically better at it. So that's why I place that upon that man. Personally, that's just me. Now I'm gonna flip it. What are the things that a wife can do to honor her husband?
My answer would be the same.
So your answer is the same?
Yeah. The basic, because it's all predicated on, I can't go into a whole bunch of stuff because it's all predicated on between that man and that woman of how the dynamics of that relationship works. But I think to honor either your wife or your husband is to honor and respect the agreement that's set in place.
Mike Joe, what you think?
I'm gonna say in general, at least for the one with me, just what I'm saying. I think respect with me would be valued a little more. Like I know vice versa. What I say, whatever is what I chose. But I think respect from the woman to the man is more valuable.
Okay, Matty B, what you think?
I would say by number one being faithful. I will also say by bringing peace. By nurturing their kids. I would say by being kind of like watching the blind spots of that man, assisting him with anything he needs, kind of like being the helpmate, and carrying on his legacy if he passes. Like if he passes first, upholding herself in a respectable way inside the house and outside the house, because she is the image of that man as well. So I would say those are definitely some things she could do to honor her husband or her man.
So when you say bring peace, what do you mean by bring peace? Are you not peaceful before this woman bring this peace? Or are you looking for the woman to your peace is external, it's not internal?
Well, I think if the man is the leader and his job is to protect the family and got the family, there's going to be times when he's dealing with a lot, and that woman is going to have to know her man to know what can calm him. Because even though he's the leader, every leader also has somebody that can be that support system for him. That don't have to be nothing big. That can be something like just telling him I love you at the right time, giving him a massage at the right time, kind of like doing things that that would ease his tension at that time, because everybody go through something. No matter how strong you are, everybody have days that they go through something. Even kings, some of the strongest men, they had women behind them that at those dark times they was able to lift them back up or say the right thing. So that's what I mean by bringing peace. And sometimes a man he may be going through a lot, and you as a woman, this might be not be the time to aggravate him about small stuff. This might be the time to bring up certain things. This might be the time for your role to get a little bigger because you see that he's having a heavy load. So when I mean peace, I just mean things of that nature.
So basically, like being supportive is what you're saying.
I mean, that's part of it. Yeah, that's part of it.
Cause I be trying to understand when men say bring peace. Cause I think it should be more of saying like the woman should add to your peace. Because I get it. The general consensus might mean that, but like I don't know. It comes off as like this woman is supposed to bring your peace. Like you're not already peaceful. Like I don't think your peace should be predicated on external factors. I think you should be internally peaceful, and the woman just adds on to that.
I believe the pressure that's put on the man's shoulders
Just
is probably more than you can understand.
like whatever your set of your peace is already within yourself. She upholds that peace for you and add to it. I don't necessarily think the woman like your whole peacefulness should be dependent upon the woman.
So you're overshooting the concept though. The concept of bringing the concept.
But that's what I said. I said maybe it's what that is actually meaning. But I said that's what I said. When I hear it, it comes off as like the woman is dependent upon the woman to bring the peace.
So let me correct it. Let me correct it for you there.
We already had this conversation.
The concept of bringing peace is comes from a perspective of the burdens that are placed upon a man. So you always hear people use it in the part of like battling the world or facing a lot of the triumphs that the world brings. And everyone needs a place to find a therapeutic, spots in life. And a lot of times that therapeutic spot typically lives within that woman, and that typically comes within her level of support and her balance of dealing with the stress and all this other stuff like that. They're keeping a very calmness around that man versus when he's out and about and things are a lot more chaotic and things are a lot, they're just a little different. It's not saying that his only peace will come from her. I think that's an interpretation, because no one ever said it only came from her. This is an interpretation. But when they say peace, it's coming from that angle of someone's talking about fighting the world and then being able to retreat back to a haven in which there's a more calm and more stillness in place. And that's where that is coming from.
I get it. We had that conversation. I get it. I said sometimes when they say it, I interpret it as in like some men be saying it as in like they're already not peaceful and they dependent upon the woman to bring the peace. But do you think that men should also be a woman's peace? Because I mean, I wouldn't say that we exactly battling the same thing in the word, but the same way you go out in the word, the same way the women go out in the word too. I think it's kind of a little bit different. Like for men, they have it a little bit harder. But I mean, this woman could be stressed too. So should both people be each other's peace? Like if we saying on the consensus of what y'all mean about be my peace, should both husband and wife be each other's peace?
Yes, they should. They both should bring a level of serenity to each other. But also with the most nurturing factors, you typically get most women should carry more of a calmer spirit than most men, because most men typically are a lot more unhinged in a lot of circumstances and situations. So typically women shouldn't be just as unhinged as most men.
I was just about to say that. Yep.
I agree.
And so you typically should see that role, that calmness in a woman a lot more than you should see it in the man, if you really want to be honest.
I kind of think it's like a little bit of an excuse of like for men to just be like unhinged, like because it's men that know how to calm situations, men that have calm energy about them. So just because it's typically like the men to be unhinged, like
Yes,
so
but biologically, you're gonna get more. You're gonna get more of that side out of men, though. Like I understand your way of viewing it, but you're also viewing it from a woman, and you're kind of pushing like an equal state into it. But it's just because I get you, but just wait.
You don't see that man talking? God
Let me
damn.
go. Wait, you ain't even let me explain.
You cut me off. You cut me off while I was talking.
Yes,
that's the hose.
So you're pushing like an equal placement to it, not realizing that even biologically you would get more men that was going to be on the edge, and most men are going to walk into certain scenarios way more than women. So it's just because there are some guys who carry certain practices that don't speak for the majority. Most men typically become more on the wild side than you will get upon most women. So when we're dealing with just the nature of it,
how do they say most women are chaotic?
I can't hold an argument with somebody else say. Only thing I can deal with what you bring forward. So if nobody play, if you gonna tell me, if somebody on here said it and they can plead the argument, I can address it. But I cannot address something that no one here has said. I don't know why. I can't tell you why another man is saying what he's saying. So I only can uphold the argument of what we put out forth right here.
So if you're saying that, then you can't tell me about what men mean when they say "be my peace," because
I can tell you what that is for the majority of what that brings forth. I can tell you that.
I just think on the internet we should be saying we should bring each other's peace. It shouldn't just be predicated on. It's just like so like. Oh, everybody just saying this woman should be my peace. Like nobody was never saying this shit.
I understand what you're saying, but I keep saying it. You're addressing it from an equality standpoint, and that's just not where it's at.
Bring my peace, like, and then if you want, like, y'all say y'all want peace and submission from a woman. If you want submission, you have to bring that woman peace as well. If you want her to submit. It's all about the environment.
You addressing things nobody said, Caprice.
And then it's on you to follow my program, not me to be on your program.
What?
It's on the woman to follow my program, not the opposite way around.
What that have to do with bringing a woman peace? Oh, because she on your program, you not supposed to bring her peace either.
No, if she on my program, she shouldn't have been with me in the first place if she felt like she wasn't getting the things needed to be able to flourish.
Because to be honest with you, a lot of that woman's piece is gonna come from a lot of what that man's job. If he's doing his job,
exactly.
He's doing his job as far as the protecting and all his other provisions. That's where a lot of her piece should relieve her from.
Yeah,
even on a financial tip, a lot of her piece should be relieved if that man is actually doing his job.
Which y'all agree with that? I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying like. It should be.
So nobody's gonna say that because it goes without. It's
already implied by his job. So why would somebody have to take the time to announce it if it's already implied by his job?
But most men are not. Okay.
We're not talking about what most men doing.
Y'all got it.
I'm not addressing it from most men. See, the only difficult part right here is because you're trying to address what other people are saying. But if nobody's putting up the argument, we can't dive into the concept.
What most people are doing, most women, like, I don't know, women are not like this because y'all see this hyper.
And we're talking husband and wife now. So if you ain't on a bunch of husband and wives, then you ain't gonna be able to make the point.
Okay.
And I did say before the point I made about women bring peace.
Like, you shouldn't even be with me if you ain't getting on my program. Like, y'all act like people don't get married without being on a general consist of a program or who is.
Listen what I'm saying.
And all this and that. Like, y'all, you speaking real ideas.
Before I even made the statement about peace, before that I said a man should have a woman in a position where she could thrive in a nice environment.
I agree with your previous
answer. So all that implies there's going to be peace.
Because the only other hassle she would run into as far as not being peaceful is infidelity now. It's him now having to stand up on his word. But if he's doing his job, all the other stuff is implied. Now the only problem will be if that nigga is not honoring his agreements as far as fidelity.
And I said being faithful too. I also said that.
Considering her feelings or like talking to her about like certain things, like y'all act like it's just provision, protection. And
But if we go down this rabbit hole about this considering feelings, man, this feelings thing could be all over the place, dog. Because a lot of times women care more about their feelings than they'll care about the whole damn relationship. So when people talk about being considerate of people's feelings, that's very, very tricky. Because sometimes women don't know when your feelings is just a fucking feeling. And every feeling cannot be time stopping, and somebody have to acknowledge it. I can't stand when people, because I can't stand when people make it seem like the world has to stop because you ain't.
And if you look at the basis of a relationship, if the man is handling the finances, if he's handling the vision for the family, if he's handling the protection part, what role do you have other than to keep peace? Like that's why it's implied, because that should be the main thing you focusing on, because the man got so many burdens that most of the things he's covering anyway. What else is you doing?
If he's doing the ideal statement, if
the ideal,
doing
yes.
all things, yes. If that's the case.
If that's the case, that's not the case. So shut up.
That's I'm about to say if that's the case.
Today, both people have to work. Both people are stressed.
Well, you ain't see Kevin. Listen, you ain't see Kevin ask what we should be doing. He didn't say that's actually going on. So you gotta calm down. You gotta relax.
I did ask what people should, because we all know what is out there, but the whole point, like we can easily sit here and point out and say, oh, this person did this person did this, but the whole purpose was to understand why are we not doing it and what can we do to get closer to it.
And most of the women, and people keep making this argument about what men doing. Most of the men are doing. Most of the men that do that, y'all don't even like those guys, because a lot of women today don't even like structure. So they don't even give. A lot of women today talk to guys that don't possess those capabilities because it's more freely.
Next question.
Dang.
I mean.
Next question.
All right, I got one more for us to jump into before we get up.
Women like this and that. Like,
so you gonna tell me next question, and you gonna go back to what he was saying?
Yeah, don't
address it. Go ahead and address it.
Don't friend zone the guy that got structure. Don't friend zone the guy that got structure and talk to the guy that let you do what he want to do. Then blame guys when that guy fuck up. Blame all the guys under that umbrella. You should have talked to the guy that was structured, but you don't want that.
Breaking up. You can't hear what you're saying. You're breaking up.
You don't want structure. You want to be able to do what you want to do.
You breaking up. Nobody can't understand what you're saying.
I'm about to say I heard.
Nah, that's just her being funny.
I ain't trying to be funny. You breaking up.
Oh, well, as long as the podcast can hear it, that's all that needs to be said.
What's the next question?
So I got one more before we get up out. So now, since we start talking about the positivity side, let's talk about the downfalls. What are the downfalls of honor? What are the downfalls when you see people try to uphold honor?
The same thing that happened with Malcolm X, honoring somebody that views may have changed, but you still feel that, because honor a lot of times brings people a feeling of being indebted to someone as well. A lot of times, I know those aren't the same, but a lot of times people do honor people, especially if that honor comes from something that was given to them or done for them. A lot of times they feel in debt to that person. So a lot of times that can be one of the downsides to honor as well. A lot of times when you honor somebody too, it don't leave room for growth in some cases, because you attach that person to everything that needs to be done rather than learning for yourself. You start relying on the people that you honor rather than self-growth. So I think that's another way that honor can handicap you.
What you think, Mike? What are some of the downfalls you've seen when it comes to honor?
Basically just I don't know, failure. That's all I gotta say. Failure.
What kind of failure?
You honoring something, let's just say you honoring something and it just fails. It doesn't work like how you thought it would. Like, let's just say, like, okay, I'm gonna honor this by my parents, but it didn't go as planned. Now you feel like you failed them. So I mean, that's a downfall.
Caprice, what you think? What are some what are some downfalls to honor?
Um, I don't, I don't know. I guess honoring something that you don't truly believe in, or that's not that doesn't coexist with the person that you are. I guess that can be a failure, but I don't know.
So I've seen people sometimes put their honor before their identity, and I've seen people fail in the sense of because they put their honor before their identity, they uphold something so strongly that it's not even a part of them. Like they feel like they're actually battling against their inner person because they're trying to keep up, and it could be like whether it's something that your parents push forward or anything else. Like matter of fact, I think like
So that's
gay people
basically
probably would have this argument. Like a lot of gay people today will probably have this argument that they think that like trying to honor their parents or something like that, they might feel like by the code coming out and all this other stuff like that, people won't be as acceptable. So they'll try to honor their parents as far as hiding and staying within the closet and then not actually embracing who they are. Also, you see people do that with even career paths. Like some people might got parents who are so structured or they so know you need to do this right here and this and this that they push to be something that they're really not. Like that's not what they want to be.
so that's basically what I just said.
You said what?
So that you basically agree with what I just said. You just explained it more.
Yeah, I mean, it went with a little bit more explanation. You said it, but just give a little bit more breakdown and context to the point. Also, outside of identity, you have just these pledges that just are unrealistic, and there's a lot of destruction that typically comes behind it. Like one of the things I always say, I think that people should try to find themselves more loyal to a cause before being loyal to a person because people change, and you might have place an honor to a person, and then that person might shift, and then their whole views and stances in life typically shift. Now you're trying to uphold honor to someone who does not carry out the same purpose in which that you carry out. So I also see that these undying type pledges typically are allowed very destructive when it comes to people too, as far as honor. I think people lose when it comes to that concept.
Is there such thing as holding somebody to their word too much?
I mean, I don't. How can you hold somebody to their word too much? The only thing you can do is just hold them to their word.
I don't know because we had these conversations before, and I will hold you to your word. Then when I see something different, I'll call it out, and then it's like, well, you can't really hold them to their word if they decide to change. Like, so it's like, do you hold them to their word or do you not?
All you can do is hold them to their word, but then you can't say, all right, me holding you to your word now puts you in a place where you don't allow people to grow. And that's another downfall that people make when it comes to that honest sense too. That if somebody make a statement, say January 2020, and then they may have come across things and they may have grown. Some people don't allow people to grow. But you said this right here. You said you look at life this way and you do this here. But then now you so stuck on placement, you don't even acknowledge the fact that they were to grow, and now it becomes disruptive because you don't even give them the fair chance of moving. Because some people are like that. Some people, when you say certain things to, they don't want to. You can't shift at all. There's zero lead way to do anything. I think you need to be smarter about what you're trying to hold people to. I think the problem is when you get a person who just don't want to budge on a concept. Like, so that I think that's the too much part. Too much is when you're not even going to allow them to actually be who they need to be because you want them to just stick onto that. Because there are a lot of things people do change in now.
So then there is a such thing as holding somebody to their word too much.
That's why I just said. I said your too much is not. It would be a person who just aren't willing to budge. Mm-hmm. That's what the too much would be. I don't think it's too much. I think it's just you doing that. But if I had to use the word use as far as too much, I would say the too much goes into that placement of a person just not budging. But I would just call that that person's stubbornness. I wouldn't say it's too much because I don't know what the base level is for the first place.
You said it's stubbornness?
Yeah, that's just stubbornness.
Because I would say, like, I wouldn't say, like, I won't allow people to grow, but I just ask you, like, so what's changed? What's different now that you're saying something different?
Yeah, I mean, that's just a conversation.
Yeah, but I know sometimes when I have done that, it's like, you act like you can't, like, somebody can't change what they said. Like, I'm just asking what changed. Like, because I know from previous conversation, you said this, so what changed? I can't ask what changed now?
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with people having conversations and you asking somebody what has changed. Like I said, the only problem will come in is when you try to hold people to something stubbornly not willing to move, because that's what most people do. Most people, when you're saying something different, they go on the attack mode, and versus asking the question of actually what has changed. Most people be like, "But you said such and such." You ain't asking them what has changed. Most people typically attack. That's how most people typically go into that. They typically willing to attack versus a simple conversation of what has changed.
Mm-hmm.
But man had just hit me up, tell me he had to get up out. But we already at the end. I mean, that's pretty much all I have for this part of the conversation. Caprice, Mike, y'all got anything extra y'all want to add to this honor conversation before we get up out?
Oh, nah. It's been a good one.
Honor thy neighbor.
Meaning?
I don't know.
so you just gonna be saying shit you ain't doing it. I'm about to say, in what regards does that mean? I mean,
I don't know. Ain't that something that came from the Bible?
Yeah, but I'm not them people, so.
You know it though.
Nah, I do know it, but it's still a context of what it is that you're trying to call honor, because honor could be dishonorable depending on the perspective of who's looking. So that phrase still comes with context. It's still like, in what way? Because even when they say honor thy neighbor, it's still, there's things that come after that.
Yeah.
But all right, peoples, until the next go around, I think I'm gonna do another one this week too, but it's gonna be a little different. But hey, till the next time, peace. We out.
I